So this morning we are making one of our favorite breakfasts. We often will make it for Christmas morning, but we also just like it in general. So we thought we'd share it with you. It is a breakfast quinoa bake.
So we went and got the last of the ingredients last night at Trader Joe's.
Yeah. Most of the things we usually have on hand.
Yeah. It is a very delicious meal, but I will say that it's not easy.
Well, it's time consuming and it bakes for a while. So even though we like to make it on Christmas morning, a lot of times what we will do, and this may be hard if you have kids, but we'll make it, and then while it's baking, we'll go open gifts and do other things because it does take a little bit of time.
It's hard for me too, don't worry.
Yeah, I know it is hard, but it is well worth it because it's just so delicious. And we always start with bacon, so that is where we will start this morning. All right, while Chris is starting the bacon as we speak, I am going to be kind of measuring out some of the other ingredients and getting everything else ready. The bacon is not actually in the dish. We just like to eat this with bacon. So we make the bacon first, and then we actually use the bacon grease because everything is made inside of the skillet. So we actually use the bacon grease to kind of cook everything else. So we'll start there. Okay, so I'm going to get some of these ingredients out while Chris is making the bacon, starting with kind of the dry ingredients. There are also bananas and dates, so we'll save that for last. We're going to get all of the rest of the ingredients kind of out and available, ready for us to get going. Start with the quinoa. It has 1 cup of quinoa. It calls for 2 cups of very hot water, but I actually don't get that ready until we actually need it. So skipping that, we go 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 cup shredded coconut flakes. 3 tablespoons of brown sugar are divided, so I have 2 tablespoons here and 1 tablespoon here. Making some progress on the bacon there. Looks good. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon are divided between the brown sugars. So I'm going to put 1 in each of the brown sugars. That's pecan. This recipe calls for 1 cup of pecan pieces. I buy pecan halves, so I just kind of break them apart with my hands. This is the last bit of the bacon, so it is just about done. We've got more bacon over here. And then this is all the other ingredients. So we have our bananas, which these will be the first to cook. So we've got those there. I have everything else portioned out over here. Chris is working on the dates as we speak. But it says 1/2 cup of chopped dates, but I usually do a full cup because I like dates. So we usually do extra there. We get the pecan halves is what we buy because we use them for trail mix. So I just break them apart with my hands, but you're supposed to have pecan pieces. It's a full cup of those. This is 2 tablespoons of brown sugar with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then this is 1 tablespoon of brown sugar with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Those are divided. You get 1/2 teaspoon of salt, although we use the bacon fat, so we probably don't really need the salt. And then this is shredded coconut. There's, I think, 1/4 cup of that. And then this is 1 cup of the quinoa. So those are all the ingredients that we will need for this dish. You can see I have some of the bacon fat left in the skillet. So what we're going to do is just lay out all of the bananas in a nice little row so that they can kind of cook up in the bacon fat. When I am putting the bananas in, I kind of go around in a circle and try to remember because we're going to flip them, and that way I kind of know where I started and I can flip them that way, that same direction. And this is 3 bananas kind of cut up into pieces. It should pretty much cover the whole bottom of the skillet. I cut them a little thicker this time than I usually do because I thought they might hold together a little bit better. And sometimes they kind of fall apart. Although that's really good because the way that it kind of mixes in the dish, it tastes yummy. And you can make this dish with other fruits. We have done it with pear before, and we have done it with pawpaws. That was really good.
For those of you that don't know, pawpaw is a fruit. I don't know where it's native, but it grows in Kentucky. So I grew up eating it wild. My dad and I would like hike out to go find wild pawpaw trees. Sort of like a mix between a banana and a pear. So
it's got like a texture of a banana, but like the sweetness is like, it's really sweet. Like it's yummy, but it is a lot of work because there's these giant seeds inside of it, and it takes a lot of work to get those out. My last of my bananas. Yeah, you're good to munch on the bacon while you're cooking. That's the way that works.
as long as you don't eat it all.
Right. I think I am ready to start flipping. They're not. It could be a little bit browner, but turn this up just a bit. But you can see they kind of start to like caramelize a little bit. They are holding together a little nicer with the oh, there we go. There's a good one. See that one? That's what you want it to look like right there. So.
And they taste so good cooked in the bacon fat.
Yeah. I mean, they're caramelized bananas, so they're going to be yummy anyway. And then, yeah, like doing it in the bacon fat is really yummy. The recipe actually calls for coconut oil. But because we like to make the bacon with it, we just use that.
When it has the coconut in it, so I could see that giving it like a coconut.
I could definitely see the coconut oil working. So, and if you're someone who is vegetarian, you don't eat bacon, then obviously that is a great option. And you could also use butter, anything like that. Oh yeah, so these are holding together very nicely. So the thicker slices are good. These are sticking just a little bit.
They look good though.
They do look good.
I like them when they're like crispy.
Mm-hmm. All right, and usually by the time you get them all flipped, they're good on the other side, so you are good to take them out. So what we're gonna do is just put them in a little bowl. So we've got a little bacon grease still there in the skillet. We added a little extra again because you're gonna want to coat the quinoa in the bacon grease. You just pour it in dry, and then.
Oops.
And you get it kind of all coated in the grease. And this just takes a couple minutes. It kind of toasts it a little bit. So there is 2 cups of hot water that you add to this dish. I don't get that ready ahead of time. I do that like right before you need it. And what I do is I just run hot water in the sink and get it out that way. It just says really hot water. It doesn't have to be like boiling, but it's because you're gonna pour it into like the grease basically with the quinoa, and you want to make sure it's not gonna like react because it's cold water going in a hot skillet. We're ready to add the hot water now. Perfect. And also the salt. So we're going to stir this for 10 minutes. And it'll kind of like reduce down. So all of that water will kind of absorb into the quinoa. So while we are waiting for the quinoa to cook, I added the two tablespoons of brown sugar and the 1 teaspoon of cinnamon into the pecans. So because this is kind of like a crumble that will go on top. So just sort of stirring that around so it kind of coats them. So we're gonna put everything in. So don't be afraid that it's still very liquidy, because we're gonna be putting some stuff in it that's gonna help absorb some of that liquid. So the quinoa is still cooking. We are going to stir in the dates, the coconut, and half of the banana slices. Dump these in here. The dates don't want to come out of their nice little hole. There we go. Those moved around. Right, and then half of the banana slices. I usually do a little more than half on the inside because the rest of them are going to go on top. And the last thing that you add in this is the cinnamon and the brown sugar. Okay, mix all that up. And that was the 1 tablespoon of brown sugar and the 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So, because the 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon go with the pecans. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off. The rest of the cooking will happen in the oven. I'm going to kind of level it all off here. We're going to kind of like place the bananas sporadically over the top. The ones on top kind of get cooked a little bit on top, so if they are a little crispy on one side, I'm putting that side down. Because they'll kind of crisp up a little bit. Oops. And then we're going to sprinkle our kind of pecan crumble, so to speak, on top. Down to the cinnamon, brown sugar. But the pecans did not get like evenly dispersed. You could skip the pecans if you don't like nuts, or can't eat nuts. You could just skip those and do kind of just a cinnamon sugar layer. I think it would probably still be fine. All right, and then we're gonna put this in the oven for 20 minutes. We have been baking now for about 15 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left. Chris went ahead and hopped in the shower because he hadn't showered yet. I ran this morning, so I showered before we even started the video. I didn't want to subject everyone to my sweaty after run look, so I went ahead and showered. But I now am all ready for the day. So just waiting on breakfast. But I did go ahead and get my coffee because we realized we hadn't had any yet. And we both were like, why do we have headaches? Probably because we haven't had our coffee yet. So I have a late start to this morning, but that's all right. All right. Yummy. Delicious. Now we're ready to plate it up and eat. All right, excited to finally be eating this morning. I'm hungry. Yeah. The bacon, I just we'll put in the microwave while that's finishing up cooking. And this is great because it makes usually like breakfast for us this morning and then leftovers for tomorrow morning. And it reheats pretty nicely. Yeah. So it works really well for kind of 2 breakfasts, which is awesome. So we're gonna go enjoy this, but I hope you did like this video. I will have the recipe in the description. So if you are interested in making it, you can make it on your own. I do recommend it. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
If you want to see more of our Vlogmas content, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you next time.